Hey folks, how's it going? The roulette is almost upon us and we've got another slice of Magnafest to go through. That is perfect to finish setting up for the Light Guild War and farm another couple of things to try out more endgame raids. With Super Ultimate Bahamut released though, I've been undecided on whether or not to actually keep following my plan to invest more into Dark and finally go full Hades. Dark generally gets the chef for that raid, but that's still only a single piece of content and I guess I'll worry about that later. For now, let's start with the roulette and my next sparks. Beginning on the 22nd, this roulette is going to be quite special, with Gachaping spinning the roulette for everyone and later attempting a second challenge that might double the amount of rolls. If the last few years are anything to go by, we should be getting a Flash Fest starting on the 28th and a Leg Fest starting on the 31st. I'm currently sitting on 460 draws with more coming in from the winter missions and maybe some extra tickets I've missed. If things go well, I might be able to spark twice, once on Flash, once on the Leg Fest. For the new units, I would guess Fedil is only going to be the first of a new series of grants and she'll come out on Leg Fest alongside Tiger. This would leave the Flash to be the release date for Grand Lancelot. Satyr is still a bit up in the air, but she'll be ticketable anyway. So for the Flash, the spark will go to Lich. If I manage to get her early, Golden Knight and Nehan would be possible secondary targets, but so would a second Pain and Suffering or a Shelem X. This is the first time I'm considering sparking for a weapon and it might even be a bit risky without knowing what the Fediel one will do. Hopefully I won't have to, but that's a lot to ask. For the Legfest, it's a hard toss between Fedil and the Tiger Zodiac, but I'm going to bet the Draco Lich might be quite useful for the next Guild War, while the Zodiac will also be sparkable in all the Legfests of the year. I don't need more Ray weapons, so the possible other targets fall to Cagliostro and Poseidon, both of whom could help for endgame content. Leona would be a nice pick as well. I've been wanting her since release, but she's kept eluding me. With the gacha plan laid down, it's time to go look at the farmable characters, starting with the Eternals. I wasn't expecting to be able to uncap all of the Eternals to 5-star before the end of the year, but after the Water Couple, I'm finally done. What's left now are the Transcendence level, and the first uncaps went to Song, Siete and Six, with this last one getting his 131st. Weapons-wise, I have enough for Siete 120, Water 110, Trio 110, Tien 110 and Songs 120, but after all these uncaps back to back, I'm seriously starved of White Dragon Scales and somehow Scarlet Scrolls. I do at least have enough prisms to get Song to 130 and another Eternal to 110, but I won't wait for the April Guild War announcement before deciding whom to upgrade, even if the choice is mostly restricted to Tien or Sarasa. On the Evoker side, it's just Lobelia left, and I'm about 3/4 of the way there. I should be able to finish in time for the next Tower of Babel, then we'll see what the weapon uncaps will bring. When it comes to the Guild War preparation, whether I'll still play Magna or fully upgrade to Primal sadly rests on the roulette results. Even then, farming meat doesn't have a crazy requirement and I've ended up relegating the grind to strike times only. Even on 4-man chains, I only ever get a glimpse of the waiting icon, so trying to go down to 3 chains plus skill damage is not going to make my grind any faster. When it comes to the actual fights though, I generally skip the 9-man 90s, the Nightmare 95s can be taken care of by Burst Team, and the same kind of goes for the Nightmare 100s. The Nightmare 150 is a bit of a different beast and it's generally a big waste of time to try and full auto it. In the last Guild War, FA Mammoth took anywhere between 7 and 10 minutes depending on how risky you wanted the run to be. I'm still regretting wasting the materials on the Wind Draconic for it. Even with 6 minutes run, it's still only a 24 million per hour honor gain, and since I want all the 1 billion rewards, I set a quota of 150 million a day for the 95s and 350 millions a day for the 150. Full autoing the 150 to reach 300 million honors would take over 14 hours. Meanwhile, I was able to get around 70 millions an hour just with Relic Buster, Summer Korwa and Narmea, and a few turns of full auto. This was also without the Freyr key and it even allowed me to go to sleep and not miss out on my quota. Since Dark doesn't have that summon though, the moment I get Leech I've got to try and get into Belial raids. With most of the content being short burst style, that chain ended up becoming the single most important upgrade after the ULB Dark Opus. Team-wise, it will likely still be Ziggs, Zoe and Predator if Artemis doesn't have plain damage or a way to mess up Zoe, or a more of a stamina-oriented setup with Orchid or Fediel in some capacity, depending on what she'll bring. As for the rest of the content, I've got the rest of the Pride of the Ascendants fight coming up. I've been trying to solo Beelzebub up with Magna Wind, but I've ended up running out of time below the 15%, so I'm basically just waiting to fix my dock, both for soloing and to feel a bit more comfortable playing with randoms. Super Ultimate Bahamut is the only raid I don't think I can touch for now. The only Magna runs I've seen succeed has been on Water and Wind, but I'm lacking Poseidon for Water and 3 more spoons plus Siete 150 for Wind. I guess we'll see what happens with the roulette and what the new raid series it's going to bring. Osiris should be released pretty soon. For now, I guess that's going to be it for me for the moment. As always, thanks a lot for watching and best of luck with the roulette rolls. See ya soon. Ciao!